let me do a quick introduction here. Where is it at? Right there. Alrighty. Hello and welcome. This is Jovi and this is Wild Thoughts. This is my thoughts. This is free speech, so I don't buy talk. Albeit, this is how I see it. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to my channel.
You like it when I make you call my name. You like it when I don't show restraint. You like it, ignited. The stars are aligning, yeah. You like it when I make you call my name. So call my name. Call my name. Call my name. I'm on my way. So don't be afraid to show that pretty body off. I really won't do my way. Call my name. You want me exclusively. Oh, darling, just put it on me. Sweet love is she giving me all the time. You want me exclusively. Oh, darling, just put it on me. Sweet love is she giving me all the time. Oh, babe, ocean wave don't move like that. Love your ways when it moves like that. Ain't no way I won't fight back. Cause baby, any time of the day, let me get you off, cause you really won't do. Show that body off, cause you really won't do. Don't know what it is, but you make me feel insane. When you call my name, call my name, call my name, yeah, I'm on my way. So don't be afraid to show that pretty body off. I really won't do my way. Call my name. Oh, babe. Ocean waves don't move like that. Love your ways when it moves like.
So apparently, I've been talking how long just now with my mic off. Man, I'm telling you, I'm still learning. So don't hold this against me. So if I didn't say welcome to Wild Thoughts with Jovi on JMRB Media, and we have quite a few topics we're gonna talk about today. One of them is Deshaun Watson, right? And the other one was gonna talk about voting. You know, the presidential election is around the corner, and also I got to talk about my team, Aston Villa. They're doing pretty good. They actually drew the game today. Um, um, yeah, they actually drew the game today. You know, I expected them to win, but in the last minute, you know, in added time, extra time, they conceded a goal, and you know that was that. Yeah, but before I get into that, the reason why I played this video right here, I spoke on it before, but my mic was muted. Okay, so um, I have to tell you why I played, right? I think with good management and good producers, good writers, it sounds like he can write. I actually watched an interview with him before, and it sounds like he write his songs, but so he sounds like a good writer. But even you put him together with a really good writer, who can guide his writing as well. You know what I mean? I think this guy can produce a massive hit, right? I think this guy can put together a massive hit, and with the right connection, he can go worldwide, right? I hear the song, and I see and I'm listening to the song, and I see a collab with him and Niger Boy, right? Both of those voices joined together on a song, right? And I'm gonna see if I'll find Dr. Love, and I'm gonna DM him. Hopefully he pick up my message, right? And I'm gonna see if I message him and suggest it, like get this guy J Com, right? You know, whichever way you gotta work it out, and put him in a Niger boy in a studio, in a writing room or something like that. Give both of them a pen, right, and put them in a writing room and see what they can come up with. I think both of them on a song can go worldwide. I think both of them on a song, because Niger Boy is a good writer as well. He writes some of his songs, especially the one that hit. Right? He actually wrote that song, and a couple of them that hit, actually he wrote those songs. And this guy wrote his songs as well, right? And I think both of them, these two voices and a song singing about the ladies, or the gal them, the moms them. You know what I mean? I think they can go a far way. You know what I mean? And that's kind of why I play this song. I think he sounds pretty good. You know what I mean? And obviously, he actually got the talent. It looks like he can dance, so he can perform the song. I know Niger Boy can perform his song. He can't really dance, but he can stand there and he can deliver. I saw him did that in the last Reggae Sumfest. So he can actually deliver his songs. And this guy here, he can do all the movements on stage. And I think both of them together can actually create a hit song, or more than one hit song, but at least one. I see it. So I would like for Dr. Love, who is Niger Boy's manager, to call him in, right, and actually see about getting them to do a song together. You know what I mean? I hope there's no copyright breaches. I mean, I'm not, my channel is not monetized. You know what I mean? So I don't really give a damn. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just think that would be dope if both of them come together. That's my thoughts on that. Okay. All right, next thing. Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. My team, Aston Villa, right? They won their game. They drew their game today. They almost won, or almost never won, whichever way you put it. But they scored a goal. The game was 0-0 or 0-0. For those who don't understand what 0-0 is, right? Throughout the entire first half, they made a couple changes. Duran came in, Bailey came in, and they actually change up. They actually change up things a little bit. I think they were both an attacking force, right? However, the goal that was scored off an Leon Bailey assist. Right, the ball was crossed in the box, and he was moving backwards, and he kind of just nudged it, to his teammate, and the teammate had to win for it with some force as well. He actually threw his body at it, and he ended up in the goal, and they scored. However, and a crossing just the same. I think that was a free kick in the box. The other team scored. Bournemouth, they scored. So. And that was in stoppage time, right? So they, you wish they could have just hold on a little bit, and they would have had that 3 points. But instead they got one. But I'm still, I'm still happy for them. They're actually doing good in the Euros, in the Champions League. They're doing. I think they're yet to lose a game. I think so. I think they're yet to lose a game in the Champions League. So, kudos to them. Congratulations to them. Leon Bailey, is kind of the reason why I follow this team. But and he's not doing so great as of yet. I think he's going to come on later on in the season as the season progresses, and he heals from some of his injuries that he had succumbed to, right? And he's trying to get back into the thick of things. He had to sit out for a little bit, but also he's playing with like new additions, new players that got into the fold, and some of those players probably were just sitting on the bench, but now they found themselves in new roles, on the team, right? So he's learned to play with those players, and how his game, kind of is gonna be synced with their game. So he's learned. You can actually see the look on his face that he's trying to figure it out. I think he will. He's a pretty smart player. He's pretty heady as it relates to the IQ of the game. So I think he'll figure it out as the season progresses. So I'm not too worried. I want him to do well, but I'm not too worried. I think he will. I think he will get there. Okay, so that's that as it relates to Leon Bailey and the Aston Villa. Let me get rid of this here. Boom, boom, boom. So the next thing I'm going to talk about, right? I'm going to talk about Deshaun Watson, right? Last Sunday he got hurt. During the game, I forgot who he was playing against, but he's been struggling, since the beginning of the season. His team, the Cleveland Browns, they're 1-6, and that's just one win. That's one win in the one game in the winning column, and 6 in the lost column. So that's their standing. So it's not looking really good. So it wasn't looking good for the team, and it wasn't looking good for Deshaun Jackson, right? I think they're not doing enough to protect him. And in the NFL, if you're gonna win, right, the most important person on the team is the everybody is important, but the most important player on the team is the quarterback. Wherever the quarterback goes, the entire team goes, right? If the quarterback is playing well, there's a great chance that the team is gonna win. The quarterback is playing bad, it almost always happens that the team is gonna play bad. Okay? But part of it, the greats will tell you that you have to keep the quarterback upright. You have to protect the quarterback, right? And for those who don't understand football, you have a group of linemen that their job is to protect the quarterback. So the quarterback has time to survey the field and find open receivers to throw the ball to, right? That quarterback needs time to go through his reads. Okay, and the quarterback doesn't have the time, then the team is not going to score that much points, right? Okay, or that many points. Is that how it is? Yeah, that many. Yeah, they're not going to score that many points. Yeah. So every time this quarterback he dropped back, there's always somebody in his grill. And that just tell me one thing. It could tell me two things, but in one of them it could be that he's holding on to the ball too long, or they're just not protecting him. I think it's a latter though, because every time I see the ball snap, there's somebody running up the middle. There's somebody coming around the edges, full speed ahead, beaming at the quarterback. That means somebody missed an assignment there. At least that's how I'm looking at it. And I make sure I find his games every Sunday and I watch it, because I'm going to get into that, right? I make sure I find his game every Sunday and I watch it for a particular reason, right? Because I'm trying to come up with a theory, right? Or I'm trying to come up with a theory, and it doesn't look good. Okay, I would say that it doesn't look good, but I'm gonna get into that. But anyway, he supposedly tore his hamstring, right, or his Achilles, right, as they would say, right, which is a very bad injury. Most players don't come back from those type of injuries, right? And it's pretty much when you have you call it a hamstring or the string. There's a cord. There's a string going down the back of your leg all the way to attach to your heel. That's what they call the Achilles heel, right? If that snap, you're in trouble, right? That's one of the things that happened to Johan Blake, right? He never came back from that. The second fastest man in the world, to like the least fastest man in the world, right? You don't come back, and it's very prevalent in basketball. Some do come back, but some don't have a long career after. Like DeMarcus Cousins, that happened to DeMarcus Cousins. He never really had a good career after that. It happened to Kevin Durant, right, the basketball player, right, and he came back. I mean, he's doing well, but you can tell he's not the Kevin Durant of old. I mean, he's not that springy. He's more settling for a jump shot. He's not the two-step guy to the rim anymore, because he's about 6'11" with like, or 7 foot with a huge wingspan, and he can take like 2 steps, 1.5 step from the 3-point line, and he's at the rim, doing a layup. Right, that's how athletic and that's how freakishly, freakish his makeup is, his body makeup is, right? And he doesn't look that springy. He's more a mid-range jumper type of guy now. Every now and then he'll get to the basket, but he's not that force. You know what I mean? I don't care what nobody say. He's just not that force anymore. The Giannis-esque type of force. That 1 step, 2 step to the basket, because they're pretty just long and lanky and wiry, as they would say. He's not that anymore. So Achilles injury, right? Deshaun Watson is going to be out for the rest of the season, and as I said, he wasn't playing well, and he was actually booed at home by his fans. His home fans booed him. One, because he wasn't playing well, and they expected more, because he's a highly paid quarterback. But and I think that's me personally, I think that's atrocious. You know what I mean? If anything, I think your home fans should at least have your back, especially in a time like this, where you're trying to put it together, and it's just not coming together for no reason at all. Okay, I think they should have. I mean, you're always gonna have jerks. Doesn't matter where you go, you're always gonna find those type of people. Okay, but with that, I've done prior videos, and I think I put it, on the record that I think that there's a conspiracy to get Deshaun Watson out of the league, and that's just my view on it, because I'm watching it from afar. But based on what I'm watching, I know he's better than what he looks like. He was highly drafted coming out of Clemson, and he actually won a is it Clemson or Cincinnati? I think it's Clemson. Yeah, let me see if I'll find that for you. Let me see, Deshaun Watson College. Let me see here. Yeah, Clemson. Yeah, Clemson Tigers. That's where he went, right? He went to the championship twice. He won it once. right? And he actually beat a pretty good team, right? And he came into the league, was drafted number 4 overall. Many people think that the team that he's right now, playing on right now, was the team that should have drafted him in the first place. But anyway, he went to Houston. He was playing great. He was putting up yards. He was throwing touchdowns. They went to the playoff, I think, once or twice. They won a game. Um, but he was playing well. The team just wasn't good. He asked for a trade, and then it was downhill from there, right? It is alleged that he was set up, right? But many women, right? Many women, 20s, if not 30s of women, filed charges against him, claiming that he sexually assaulted them during massage procedures. And that is what said that he was flying in women from outside of his area where he lives in Houston or wherever he's at. He will fly in women, right? Instagram women to give him massages. He's an athlete, and I guess he need massages, which I can understand. I used to get when I was stationed in Japan. I used to get a lot of sports massage because I used to play a lot of soccer, especially on Fridays. You're playing indoor soccer, and it's very intense, right? And and every Friday I'm beat up, and I have bad knees, and a few other bad joints, and I need either a deep tissue or a sports massage. I normally opt for the sports massage because it hurts like hell, but it actually, it's actually rewarding. You actually got the benefits. After a day or two, after it wears off, you actually can see the benefits of having a sports massage. So he was flying in these women. A lot of them appear to be Instagram models, and they were giving him massages. And it is alleged, and at this point, I can still say it has been alleged that that it was that he sexually assault these women. Um, you know, um, trying to have them perform happy endings, either during the massage, before the massage, or after the massage. I don't know when, but it is alleged that he sexually assaulted these women. Right. To put it in the proper context, though, a grand jury was put together, and they decided not to indict him. Right. The NFL did an investigation. They interviewed some of the women, and they carry out their own investigation. And also, what they came out with, also with the court, is that he didn't coerce any. There was no coercion. That means he didn't force these ladies verbally to do anything, right? And he didn't force himself on these women, and those are facts. Those are actually facts. So I don't have to feel anywhere weird or nervous about those kind of things, because that's what was said, right, in the reports, and that's what came out of it, right? So, in my view, he merely asked these girls to perform an act, right? Which I'm sure many of men who have had massages Not all, because I'm one of them. I've had massages, but I never really ask a woman to perform an act because, for one, I don't believe in paying for sex. I think I'm not the best looking out there, but I think I look damn good, right? And I think I'm above 6 foot, right? I'm above 6 feet, right? I have a really good smile, right? I still have my, well, I have 30. So I have 30. I still have 30 of my 32. The other two I took out. I didn't really have to take them out. And I'm talking about my teeth, right? I didn't really have to take him out, but I did because a dentist at the time coerced me or tell me it would be beneficial, I would say, right, to take him out. And I did take him out, and I was supposed to go back to take out the other two, and I never went back because it was too painful, and I didn't need to take him out in the first place, right? So, God bless my mom who blessed me with really good teeth, right? So I have a really good smile, right? And I got words in my mouth, right? And for the most part of it, I take care of myself. I work hard, so what I mean. I'm not lacking in any way, shape, or form. So I don't believe in paying for sex, right? That's just my personal belief. But I've seen, in many instances, and I've been around people, both professional people, and just regular people, right? And people in high places that actually pay for that kind of stuff, having a massage, or in East Asia you call it the mama san, right? They go to the mama san and they pay for whatever they want, right? I've seen that. You know what I mean? So is not like Deshaun Watson, if he had asked for these kind of activity to take place, that it's way out of the norm. It's actually more normal than you think. You know what I mean? And actually, the New England Patriots owner, I'm gonna say allegedly because I don't have the facts right in front of me, was called up on for some of the was brought to the forefront. Was being talked about in the media for um, uh, taking part in activities like that somewhere there down in Florida, if I'm not mistaken, right? And that's an NFL owner, much less a NFL player, right? So he was brought up on that are are those incidents, create a media storm around him, and that was after he asked for a trade from his previous team, right? Um, it is alleged that there's people around there was disgruntled, and they kind of created the that um, made a storm around him to where his stock would fall. He wouldn't make any money, and he wouldn't do well because this must have taken a toll on him. I think he's still going through litigations in civil court as well as we speak. So, but on a crime, no, he wasn't convicted of doing any crime. He was suspended for, I think it's half of the season or 6 games from the Cleveland Browns for conduct detrimental to the league. Okay, and that suspension by the came down from the NFL itself. Okay, or the NFL commission. Okay. So, as I said, my belief, though, I think they're trying to get rid of him out of the league. Okay, and there are reasons why I say that, right? But before I do that, I'm gonna play a clip, right? I'm gonna play a clip. And all right, here we go.
Was raised, I was taught to love no matter the circumstances, especially for people who do right by you. The way I was raised, I was taught to love no matter the circumstances, especially for people who do right by you. I'm grateful that I had a chance to serve Deshaun, but I am very upset with the reaction to a man that has had the world against him for the past 4 years, and he put his body and life on the line for this city every single day, regardless of your perception, regardless of what you thought should happen with him. He committed every single day that I've been here to be the best that he can be for this team. And I know I come from the deep south, Birmingham, Alabama, Bessemer, Alabama. So I know the standard that hungry fans want. But the way I was raised, I will never pull on a man when he's down. But I will be the person to lift him up. And that all of us have unique experiences. All of us have circumstances, conditions, and facts that we face every single day. And I pride myself in being a man of increase and being a man that wants the best out of everybody. I tell myself every morning what I want for myself, I want for everyone. And I do not want the treatment that Deshaun Watson has received from these passionate fans. I know you love this game. When I first got here, I knew these were some amazing fans. But Deshaun was treated badly. And now he has to overcome another obstacle. So I'm going to support him. I'm going to lift him up. And I'm going to be there for him. Because I see the way he fights. I see the way that he works. And I know who he is as a person and as an NFL quarterback. And that's all I have to say to address him. I'm sending up my prayers. I already prayed for his leg. And I will continue.
Yeah, that's actually blue and red. Okay, but I am actually doing something now. Okay, hold on, hold on, buddy. Yeah, there we go. We got rid of those rascals. No, they're actually pretty good. You know, those are my kids, but I don't want to have my kids in videos. Okay, so that's just my personal preference. So that's the way I choose to handle that. But yeah, you heard from Jameis Winston. He's there. He's on the team, right? The game that the injury happened, he was actually scratched. scratched, and he had to get dressed for the game. He wasn't even the second string quarterback; he was a third string, right? And he had to get dressed, and come out and play quarterback for the rest of the game. Okay, and he have seen things. He has been around Deshaun Jackson. He has seen his work ethic. He's been in the film room with him. He's seen how he carried himself and comport himself. So you have to put stock into that. You have to put stock in because he's also vying for his job, right? That's the job the position that he played. He's a quarterback as well. So you'd want to believe that he's also vying for Deshaun Watson's job. So for him to come out and speak on his behalf, that should say something. But then sometimes, people don't really pay attention to the message. They pay attention to the messenger. Hold on again. Here's my son. He's back. 1 second. Okay, so there we go again. Yeah, so for him to come out and speak on his behalf, that speaks volume. But once again, as I said, sometimes we don't pay attention to the message or pay attention to the messenger, and Jameis Winston has received his share of flack from the league. A lot of people think that he shouldn't even be a backup. He should have been above where he's at right now, you know. But the league is hard. As many say, the league is hard, and sometimes you have a certain expectation for yourself, and sometimes for others, and it doesn't pan out that way, right? But one of the things that Deshaun Watson is trying to do, he's trying to put it back together, both mentally, physically, and every other kind of way. And so far, he hasn't been able to put it together. One, I think there's a conspiracy to, in my view, right? I'm not accusing anybody, but I think there's a conspiracy to get him out of the league, based on what is alleged to transpire. I think that they can't blackball him like they did Colin Kaepernick. They can't do it that way anymore because Colin Kaepernick has showed him up, so they can't use that strategy anymore. The strategy is to make sure the team, because his play is reliant upon the lineman protecting him, so he can throw the ball down the field, throw the screens, throw the slants, or things like that, and score touchdowns. Run the ball, right? He's a runner. He can run around. He can, he's a dual threat quarterback. He can run and he can throw, right? But you can't run the ball if your lineman ain't creating gaps for you to run through, right? He's running, but he's pretty much running for his life. He's running around in the pocket and escaping the pocket and trying to look downfield with people breathing down the back of his neck. At least that's what I see every game with almost every snap that he took, right? The game he actually got hurt in, though, he was actually playing well, right? He was what, 15 of 17 for 120 yards or something like that. So he was playing actually well. He had a lot of completions. Likewise, the year before he got hurt, the team was 1-5. They were doing really good, and he actually scored on a winning drive, actually a comeback, right? On the game he got hurt. So it's just so unfortunate that this guy got hurt on the games that he's actually putting it together, right? He's actually playing well. Those are the games he got hurt, but and you can almost say that's on his own merit, right? He's doing things because he's very athletic, right? He's not a super athletic guy, but he's athletic. He can escape, right? He can run around. He can find the open man, stuff like that. And also he can stand in the pocket and actually deliver the ball downfield, right? He can do that as well, but I just think that he's just not being protected, and I think I think everybody is in cahoots with it. I think the media is in cahoots with it. I think the coaches are in cahoots with it. It's like, hey, look, because it's up to the coaches, or or the coaching staff to put together a proper scheme to protect the quarterback, right? That's what's supposed to happen, but that's not happening. And I think that so where's the flag for the coach? How come nobody is like all over the is all over the coaches for, hey, look, do something? How come you're not protecting your quarterback? You know what I mean? So I think everybody is in cahoots with it to get him out of the league, and the way to do it is to not protect him. He's not going to play well, so you can at least say, hey, look, he's no good anymore. We got rid of him not because we blackball him. And this in of itself is a conspiracy. But it's my conspiracy, and most of my conspiracy always turn out to be right, because I actually put some thought into these things, and that's something I just come out overnight. And as I said, I made my point of duty to watch every game that he plays. So he's week 7 right now, because they're 1-6. So he's week 7 right now. Okay, so through 7 games, I can form an opinion, right? That's 7 weeks, right? So it's almost 2 months. It shouldn't take that long to actually form an opinion. So that's my opinion, is that they don't want him in the league anymore. They have to show a stance that they protect women. You know what I mean? They're probably getting heat. Probably women writing them. How come you guys haven't played? I mean, he's not on TV like every Sunday. You got to really search to find the games. It's not like he's on Sunday Night Football. Like those primetime games, and Monday Night Football, and what I mean, and Thursday Night Football, and all these high visibility games. You got to search really hard to find his games, but he's out there playing. I mean, and there's thousands of fans, in the stadiums where he goes and plays. And I think he's catching a flag from women, right? And they're trying to get rid of him, right? As it relates to the allegations, I think he's innocent. That's my view, right? And I'm not one of them to think that every time a sports athlete or a mega star got brought up on charges or there's allegations that they may have raped or commit sexual assault. I'm not the one to think that there's women out there who are just trying to get him, even though in many of instances that's the case, right? But I'm not the one that's not what I default to, right? In this case, I can actually read the tea leaves and see where a lot of people were disgruntled, right? This was the best quarterback for that team that he left, right? And I can see where a lot of people were disgruntled that he asked for a trade, and they want to smear him, right? And I'm a legend at this point, right? But I think that there's people who want to smear him, right? And they did just that, right? One of my questions about these people that he was flying in is where are your license, right? You say you're providing massages, but And it says massage ladies. There's nothing that says licensed massage ladies, right? So I'm waiting to hear that these people have, and I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting to hear that these people are actually licensed massage people or licensed masseuse, masseuses. I'm waiting to hear that. So far, I haven't heard that. Right? I just hear that he flying some women, and he find them on Instagram and Facebook and you know in all these places, and they agree to be flown in to do a massage, right? And in the act of giving him a massage, right, he had to be somewhat naked or half naked or something like that. I mean, you don't give people massages in their clothes. When I get massages, you strip down to your boxers, and they actually put a towel over you, and they roll the towel down, and they massage your top, right? Um, um, then when they massage your top and they're gonna massage your legs, they actually move the towel um, to your upper half and massage your legs. Whenever it's time for you to roll over, they lift up the towel and they hold it up. They cover your eyes, and you roll over and they put it over you, right? So at all points, at least half of your body is covered. And the same way, they massage your top, your chest, your arm, your neck, all that stuff, and then they may move the towel up, or at least, you know, a little bit below that area, right? And they'll massage your legs all the way down to your feet, right? That's the procedure that I'm used to, right? I'm used to getting massage just with my eyes closed. I don't need to see the person. Once I verify that it's a female massaging me, I'm good, right? I don't need to be staring at you for the whole massage, right? So I get massage with my eyes closed, right? Is that I'm face down and I'm getting massage, right? And even though I'm face down and my head is through that hole and on the massaging table, whatever, my eyes are still closed. I'm trying to enjoy it too. You know what I mean? Which, in most cases, I'm not enjoying it. I'm either crying because I'm in pain, right, or I am actually asleep, right. Sometimes they want me to turn over. They have to be like, hey, sir, sir, turn over. 'Cause they don't yell at you, right, sir, turn over. And I would wake up and I turn over, and then I turn over and I fall asleep again. And by the time they're finished, they gotta wake me up like, hey, sir, sir, we're finished. You're finished. And they normally gotta say it like 2 or 3 times for me to actually recognize what the hell they're saying, because I'm dead asleep. So that's massages for me, right? I don't know about anybody else, but that's massages for me. With this guy, he was asking for happy endings, right? And why does he feel like he can ask for happy endings? I'm not going to blame that on anybody. I'm just saying I need to hear that these people have a license. If you don't have a license, you're not a masseuse. And if you're not a masseuse, what the hell are you doing there? Performing massages for money. Because I mean, if you're gonna fly all the way somewhere, you must be doing it for money. Otherwise, what are you doing it for? So if you're not licensed, so those are missing information that I haven't seen anywhere. I haven't heard anywhere, and this is how they pull one on the American public. So a lot of times, because we're so gullible and we don't think, we just hear some charged argument, and we're already word out about certain things, and we're already predisposed or have preconceived notions about certain things, that it creates a trigger, right? And we react right off the bat, you know what I mean, emotionally, without even thinking through some of these things. And there's a lot of unanswered questions for me as it relates to whether or not Deshaun Watson is guilty. For me, at this point, he's being judged in the court of I wasn't a jury. I wasn't part of the grand jury that did not choose to indict him. At this point, he's being judged in the court of public opinion, and once he's being judged in the court of public opinion, I too can judge, right? And so far, my judgment say he's innocent, and I think I don't think they're trying to get rid of him based on the fact that his he's guilty or whatever, because I said he wasn't found guilty in the court of law, and I think there has to be something. We have to put some stock in that the court of law, all the professionals, and I believe in letting the professionals do what they do, and the professionals come together and they decide not to indict this fellow, right? And that's what I'm working with, and also using my common sense, and also knowing that there's missing information that I haven't been able to gather it, and it hasn't been reported anywhere, right? I'm making my judgment, but I don't think they're trying to get rid of him because of that. Is actually the allegations, you know what I mean? He's tainted, so to speak. He's tainted material, and nobody wants that in their organization, right? Because otherwise, you have tainted material in your organization, then your organization is tainted as well. And that's why I think they're trying to get rid of this fellow out of the league. But as I said, they can't do it. They can't blackball him anymore, right? They can't blackball another player. It was obvious that they blackball Colin Kaepernick for his stance, or lack thereof, right? Because he didn't stand, he kneel. Well, before he sat down and then he kneeled, so it's not even a stance; it's more of a kneel, right? Or it's more of a sit down. You know what I mean? If that appealed to your sense of humor, but I don't think they can do it that way. They have to create a situation to where he looks really bad on the field, and I think that's what's going on, right? Next year, I'm gonna play another video. With let me see here. Where is it at? See if I find this one. Yeah, I'm gonna play another video, and I'm gonna play the entire video. It's pretty long. It's about 20 minutes. But my program is long anyway, so this is 20 minutes into the video, and it kind of solidify. He's not making any charges or casting any aspersions, but this is a player that has been through the rough and tough as well, right? And he has been through similar experiences, and he's speaking as to how he see it. And remember, this program is the way I see it, right? So he's speaking the way he see it, and just take a listen.
Football game, man, but I had something on my heart and I want to lay it. And I thought to myself, man, because I wanted to address a few things, and I want to start with the Deshaun Watson situation. I didn't get a chance to talk about it on TV today, so I'm going to address it here. And it was interesting that I didn't get a chance to talk about it on TV, being that, I certainly can relate to the situation. I, too, was accused. I also laid on the carpet on the football field with certainly a game ending, a season ending, and a career-ending injury while people cheered. All of it, I think, makes me uniquely suited to just share. And though I didn't get a chance to do it on TV today, that's what makes having my little Mad Mike forum right here a chance to chat with you, all that much more important. As a man and as a football player, I first felt empathy. I know where he was. I could feel what he was going through. I too was accused of a horrific thing. And then I had to go back and play football with everybody saying that I had basically done this thing. Well, no, everybody said I held a gun to a girl's head while 3 other dudes raped her. They told everybody I wasn't there. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I wasn't there. I mean, I wasn't there. But nobody believed me. And this thing ran for weeks. And I kept saying, guys, I wasn't there. It wasn't me. I wasn't there. Ultimately, I went through all kinds of situations about it. I ended my career a few short years later, laying on the carpet in Philadelphia with people cheering. Now, first, I would say this to you. After that accusation of a horrific act by me got out, and I was saying, I didn't do anything, I didn't do it, guys, I didn't do it, and the media scrum that followed me everywhere, questioning and saying I wasn't telling the truth. I mean, even though in the end, when they found out, as I said, I wasn't there, it wasn't me. I sued everybody, won millions of dollars, got paid the money. They exported the girl, but I was never the same. I was never the same. Even though I wasn't even there. I was never the same. Because you try to build back to where you were. You try to get back physically, that's one thing. Emotionally, that's another thing. And spiritually, even another. And you're always thinking and wondering what is everybody else thinking and wondering about you. Now that everybody heard these horrific things about you. Building from that place is a hard thing. Because you see and look around and you wonder. And then you hear the little chirps and jokes and all the little things that people say. But you gotta keep moving forward. And Deshaun Watson was trying to do that. That's why seeing that situation happen like that, and I'm not speaking on because I don't know what happened with all of these accusations that came after him. If you ask me to dig deep in my soul, I would have to split it this way and say, it's hard to believe that there is nothing there. But it's also hard to believe that all 30 happened and nothing happened until the lawsuit happened. You know what I'm saying? It's just hard to believe both ways. You know, it's hard to believe both ways. And I don't know. And maybe none of it happened. And maybe all of it happened. I don't know. But it's hard to believe that 30 times that happened. And yeah, and all of a sudden, they all come forward at one time. And nobody ever went to the police before. You see what I'm saying? All of that. And I understand all of that. And I understand people, you have a right to your opinion about all of that. You really do. Because it's out there. And one thing I used to always say, man, oh my God, man, I wish this never would have happened. I wish it never would have happened. You know, it was, I went through a mediation with them. In my mediation, when I was talking with the news, the TV station, and police. I was suing everybody, all of them. I said to them, when we sat in a conference room in Austin, Texas, because they pulled us out of practice, me and Eric Williams, because Eric was also, it happened at Eric Williams' house, and he was accused. They put me in this thing. I wasn't even there. I said to them, because the mediation is when they come and try to make sure they want to see what you have to say if you're put on a court, put in a court and put it on the stands in a courtroom. And so what they do, they give you a few minutes to speak, to share your thoughts about the case. And then he'll take one group and go in one room and take the other group and go in the next room. And a mediator, that's why it's called a mediation, goes from one place to the other talking to each side, trying to cut a deal. I got a chance to speak at this mediation, and I spoke to all of the lawyers. They had 4 or 5 big-time lawyers. And I said, I too graduated from I went to the University of Miami. I graduated after my junior year of eligibility to come into the league. My degree is in business. But what I just saw, I'll never be able to do. I just saw, 4 or 5, well, how many they had, lawyers, well-dressed, with your briefcase, walking in this room, respectable business men. I said, I could never walk in a room like you just walked in a room, because this will follow me the rest of my life. This accusation and the way you guys carried it over and over and over, saying it over and over and over, as if I was guilty before the fact, it's going to follow me for the rest of my life. And it did. After speaking with them for a few and speaking in front of them for a few, they settled, because they knew I was right. They knew they took something from me that could never get back. And again, I don't know what happened with the Deshaun Watson situation, but I know how that started with me. I've watched Deshaun Watson over the last couple of years, and I watch him try to fight back. It's a hard place. And I thought last year, right before with Nick Chubb going, I thought they had something going, and I thought they were working towards something, and then remember he got hurt. Man, pushed back, then he's right back in it, and then some other case came up, and he's back in it, and I don't know. And this year it just didn't look the same. But to have this man go down, and to have them chant, you deserve that. You deserve it. That's a sad day in the NFL, and we are much better than that. It was very sad to see. It was so sad to see. I appreciate what Jameis Winston said. And I'd imagine, no one can speak to it better, because he was there every day. He saw Deshaun trying to fight his way back, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, just like I said. And man, you could see the depth of hurt that he felt. Myles Garrett, I could see the depth of hurt that he felt. That's hard. That was hard watching it. It was hard watching it. And I'm just saying, man, I know we're better than that. I know Cleveland got some fans, and I know they're very passionate fans, and I love passionate fans. I myself, when I got hurt, I forgave and didn't even think about holding anything against Philadelphia for booing me or clapping when I got hurt or whatever. I remember the owner coming to my hospital room when I was laid up in the bed, paralyzed, and his lips were shaking because he was so hurt by what he witnessed. And I wanted to release him. I said to him, hey, we're good. Your fans are just passionate, just like me. I wanted to release him because he's a good man. And I understand they're just passionate. And I had been banging their butts up for about 10 years anyway, so I understood it that way. Okay, I had been banging them up for 10 years, so I understood that they're just saying, they're not happy he's hurt, they're just saying, we happy he ain't gonna be hurting us. You see what I mean? I took that as a passion. Oh, he's going to leave in the game. You know, they didn't know that I was going to be paralyzed. I just don't believe that. I don't believe that. Because I don't believe we are that. Me dealing with that and getting that on the road in Philadelphia, or as I may have told you guys one time in Carolina, the way people chirped at me after all of that, after what was a false accusation in the first place, that I wasn't even there. The way people came at me was difficult. But I balanced it out with the way I was being treated at home. Because I played for the Cowboys, but they were closest to the story. They knew, they were vested in it. They knew, I kept telling them I wasn't there. And I told the reporters, I said, I want you guys to cover this with the same intensity when you find out it was there. So, you know, though none of that really happened, you know, they were invested. They knew. So they gave me love. So I was able to balance that true love that I got at home with that real pain that I was feeling on the road. I say all of this to say, man, I can't imagine what that young Deshaun Watson is going through. And I know, I'd imagine a lot of people don't even care, but I can't imagine. They got it on the road, and the people you're trying to fight for, you're trying to put yourself back together so you can best serve and deliver to them. When you got home, they gave it to you too. I don't know if he'll ever play football again. I certainly don't think he'll ever play in Cleveland. But I'm gonna wish him the best. And all you Cleveland fans, hey, I know how this thing started. I ain't got no issue with it. I just think you're better than that. You're better than that. You know, people may say, well, Deshaun Watson didn't want to come here in the first place, and you would be right. Remember, Atlanta was going to sign him, but Cleveland came in and gave a all-out guaranteed deal that I really thought was a great deal at the time. And honestly, think about this. If he had worked out, everything worked out great, they would have been having a big-time quarterback at $40 million when the number now is really $65 million, or at $30 million and number $65 million. So they were ahead of the curve before those numbers jumped way where they jumped right now. But for some reason, he couldn't put it back together. And I'm just telling you how hard it is. Don't underestimate that kind of battle of putting it back together. All I want to close this with in this moment is just saying, I'm praying for you, my brother. I'm praying for everybody involved in this whole situation. And I hope somehow, some way, all of this pain leads to some kind of great promise, and maybe you can help somebody down the road or some kind of way. I'm praying for you, man. God bless you. All right, guys.
Yeah, there you have it once more, right? I didn't try to interrupt this video because I think I wouldn't do it any justice at all. So I have to just let it play out and have you watch it in its entirety. Well, not in its entirety. He's still speaking about other stuff, but that part of it covers the topic that I want to cover. Okay, and you can see he poured his heart out there. He's poured his soul. Speaking of his experience, and for who don't know, this is Michael Irving. He's a Hall of Fame wide receiver that played for the Cowboys back in the early '90s, right? I think he won like 2 or 3 Super Bowl for the Dallas Cowboys, and he was a great player back in his time, right? Hence why he's a Hall of Fame, and he went through something similar to what Deshaun Watson went through, and as he said, the media just wouldn't let it go. Even though there was no proof there, and at least it was just allegations. They covered it extensively, and it put a bad stamp. It put a bad stamp on him, right? And it followed him for the rest of his life. He was also recently, I think it's last year, he was accused again for a similar situation in a hotel with a female. I think that was sexual. He was alleged to have committed sexual assault. By I think saying something to a lady that she deemed unpleasant and sexual in nature. However, he was vindicated of those charges, and you know, so he has been through a lot. But those things follows you, so people know that you go through that. They will try it with you again. You know what I mean? And that happened to him recently. I don't think if it's not last year, is a year before, right? But that happened to him. But this was a heartfelt I want to say a video that he did, and as you can see, he also posited that he don't know if Deshaun Watson will play in the NFL again, but he certainly almost positive that he won't play in another Cleveland Browns uniform. So there you have it. As I said, you heard my opinion about it already, right? I actually think that's what they're trying to do, and at this point, I'm alleging because I don't really know. I'm not in those meeting rooms. I'm not, in those secret meetings or anything like that. I'm just trying to use my common sense and try to size up the situation. And as I said, it doesn't look good. I've seen other quarterbacks played for the team, right? And the way the team plays around them is a lot different than how they play around Deshaun Watson. And I think that something is bubbling there. You know what I mean? I'm still gonna watch it some more because I'm waiting for the end. And now that he's hurt, he's out for the season. He's been there for about 3-4 years now. He hasn't done much to help the team apart from that 5-1 or 4-1 start. Right, he hasn't done much to help the team because he's been hurt. He's been suspended. Then he's been hurt. So no, they have legitimate reasons in their view. I would think that they can either trade him or cut him or something like that, right? And then who else is gonna sign him? I don't think anybody else is gonna sign him, right? Because he doesn't really have anything good on tape to show that, hey, I'm still worthy of being a starting quarterback or playing in front of anybody in the league. And that's where I think where the conspiracy comes in, right? They make sure that his last tapes what I mean, it's so horrible that nobody would look at that and actually hire him and give him a job in the NFL. I mean, he's gonna be retired, and if he doesn't play another down in the league again, he's gonna be out of the league, but he's gonna be very wealthy, right? Because he signed a $200 million contract, most of it guaranteed, right? It was fully guaranteed until they restructured it coming into this season. So I don't know the what the I don't know the details of the restructuring. I'm not gonna pretend like I understand NFL contracts and all these things, but I know there was a restructuring around trying to bring better players in to the team, or at least that's probably what was proposed. But looking at this, I don't even think that's what they want to carry out. They want to restructure the deal, so when they get rid of them, they save some money. That's what I think, right? As I said, I'm spewing conspiracy here, but I'm waiting to see one of my conspiracy being wrong before. Wrong. So far, any of my conspiracy that I've had, that I've put in my mind, you know what I mean, and I've shared with, my little group of people that is around me, it always work out some way, shape, or form, like what I said or close to what I said. Okay, because I really analyze these things and take some time to form these opinions. And I'm just waiting to see the finishing part of it now. Everything else kind of come together already, right? I'm waiting to see the finishing part of it and how it's being carried out. Okay, that's what I'm waiting to see. Okay, right. Further on, in the news, I've been watching the NBA. I don't know. The NBA game is just not really appealing anymore. I'm trying my hardest to actually. Well, I don't even watch the games anymore like that. I just watch the highlights. I think the highlights is more exciting than actually watching the darn game, right? Because I don't think any of these teams, take defense really serious anymore. You don't really see a team out there that is really good at playing defense, that that you're playing against it. Not like the Detroit Pistons, right, of the early 2000s that won those championships, has been to those championships, like the Rip Hamilton, the Ben Wallace, the Chauncey Billups, the Tayshaun Prince, that Detroit Piston team. I'm not talking about way back before the Isaiah Thomas and the Dennis Rodman type of Pistons. I'm talking about the early 2000 Pistons who play really good defense, right? And is known for their defense, a defensive juggernaut. You know what I mean? You see you see a team shooting a bunch of threes, and the nights that they're not falling is when it looks like the other team play defense. And not that they play defense, it's just that this team just misses a bunch of threes. That's what I'm seeing, right? And the season's just got started, and most of the team that wins score upwards of 120 points. At least I'm gonna say at least upwards of 110 points. You know what I mean? That's not something I want to watch. I want to watch a hard fought game. I don't want to watch a game and by the beginning of the third quarter the game almost over. It's like you almost know who wins, because the team in the lead is actually up by 35, 40 points, and there's no way in one quarter the other team is going to come back. So you can almost turn off the TV at that point and just put a win in the win column for whatever team is in the lead. That's the type of games that you're seeing right now. You're not really seeing games hard fought, 92, 93, 6 minutes left in the fourth, and you have you on the edge of your seat as to who's going to win, right? I like seeing scoring, right? But I like see stretches where none of the teams can score. Like, man, nobody can buy a basket. What's really happening? You know what I mean? That's a good defensive. That to me, defense is all about effort, right? It doesn't matter what kind of sports you play, right? Cricket is my favorite, right? Sports, right? That I played, and soccer, and both. And there's defensive tactics. You know what I mean? In cricket is how is a field placement, how you play in the field, based on how the players are placed on the field when the other team is batting. actually signifies whether the team is playing defense, or they're just kind of just opening it up, right? Normally it's opened up like in the game starts, right? You don't know what's gonna happen, but when you have a team pinned down, you pretty much bring everybody underneath the bat, because you're like, okay, this guy, especially when you have a really good fast bowler, right? You know that this guy, he's nervous. He saw his teammate got hit in the face with a ball or whatever the case may be. He's out there. He's nervous. So you have a defensive team, right? Same thing in soccer, right? Defense is very important, and it's all about effort. Defense is all about effort. In cricket, is the diving stops, right? Somebody hit a ball really hard, but you put your body in front of it, and you take that hit, right? Or you dive and you save a four, right? You chase down a ball, and you know things like that. It's effort, right? So, but I don't really see much effort. It seems like everybody out there is playing pickup, like the All-Star game, right? That's, at least that's what I see. So it's not really appealing. But on that note, I'm expecting the Warriors to do really good. They let Klay Thompson go. He had a really good game in Dallas. Scored 22 points. I think he scored six 3-pointers, right? So he did pretty well. But then they picked up Buddy Hield to fill that place, and so far he is draining that. You know what? He's playing really good, right? And then the other players, the second-year players and the third-year players, Draymond Green, is Draymond Green. He's gonna anchor, their offense. Steph Curry, he's not shooting that well, but before it's all said and done, he's gonna get really hot. Okay, so I'm not really worried about the Warriors. Kings is my team, right? They acquired what's his name, DeMar DeRozan, but I'm yet to see a Kings game. To be honest with you, that Kings is my team, but I'm yet to see it because I don't really see. I only catch the highlights nowadays. I'm too busy, you know what I mean. And even when I have time, I'm not really enthused to sit and watch an NBA game right now. They need to clean that stuff. All that stuff, rules that they changed to cause the game to like speed up and more points and stuff like that. People don't want to see that. People want to see competition. People pay money to see competition. That's why people go to see sports like boxing and MMA and all that stuff. People are effort. You know what I mean? So that's what people want to see, and at least that's what I want to see. You know what I mean? And I can safely say people want to see, because the ratings, the NBA ratings has dropped. During the last season, right? People watch football because even though they change the rules and it's for more safety, they it's still competitive, right? It's still competitive, and that's what people want to see. At least that's what I believe people want to see. Okay. Let me find this here. Yeah. So that's that as it relates to sports and my spiel on the whole Deshaun Watson um, career and injury. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the upcoming election, the presidential election between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. It's winding down, and it's getting close to the wire right now, and everybody is scampering. Everybody is trying to secure the most votes as possible, or trying to gain those votes, right? But this video that I'm gonna bring in, I did a recent video as well that talked about, you know, the undecideds and the independents and the undecideds. And sometimes I like validation, right? Because it tells me that I'm not insane. And this video kind of makes me feel like I'm not insane, right? Even though my mantra here is wild thoughts, right? Right. So and sometimes my thoughts are radical in a sense, but this gives me the feeling that I'm not crazy, right? I'm saying some things that with some sense. So you can find the video that I covered it on. It's if you go to YouTube, you type in JMRB Media, you'll see all the videos, and it's gonna say undecideds and it's gonna say independents and undecideds, right? But this kind of corroborate, if you will, or validates what I said, right? Because sometimes, as I said, people don't pay attention to the message; they pay attention to the messenger, and I think this is probably a more worthwhile a messenger than me in terms of his stature and you know, as a professional, right? He's been in the game for a long time, and you know, I mean, it's a white guy, but it's not because he's white. You know, I'm more talking about being a professional out there on the forefront, right? More credible, I would say. Nobody know who the hell I am, right? People know who this guy is, right? So that's what I mean, right? So with no further ado, let me bring this over here real quick, and then I'll bring this over.
Brought to you by the Ramsey Network app. Download for content that keeps you motivated today. We are neck deep in the middle of an election season, and I'll be early voting this week, and then I'm going to be away from the microphone a little while. So I'm going to take a minute here and walk you guys through something, and just stay with me a minute, okay? So here's the thing. Most people in America have already decided who they're going to vote for. You agree with that?
Yes.
The idea that there's a big block of undecided people out there wandering around is kind of absurd, really. There's really...
Okay, so there we go. I'm going to speak over this video because, as I said, this is actually validating my point, right? I'm not going to play my video. If you want to see it, go find it. But as I said, what I said in that video, I don't call the undecideds undecideds. I call them the conceiteds, right? I think there are people who are seeking validations. This is a moment in the election, you know, they don't have anything going on as it relates to media coverage, right? You know, they're just regular people, right? Regular professional blue collar, you know, or even white collar people in our society, and this is their 15 minutes of fame, right? They want to feel important. They want to feel like they helped to shape the policy. They swing the election, right? They were the deciding factor in the election as it you know as it relates to swing states and swing voters and you know, the electoral college and things like that. They want to feel like they're that important, and they want to be catered to, right? They want the message to tailor to them, and therefore they will come out and they will state, okay, this is what I'm interested in, right? And then you have the people who are campaigning, the candidates will try to tailor their message or try to make them promises, or if they are leaning towards certain policies, they may course correct because these people don't like those policies. But I always say that I think everybody know who they're gonna vote for, and it doesn't matter. He say at this point, but I think at that point it was pretty close as well. So I say at this point, whomever are registered to vote and who can vote and are registered to vote and are going to vote knows who they're voting for. At least know who they're leaning towards. You know what I mean? And I was saying that I think there are undecided. There are not undecided. There are independents. You know who know who they're gonna vote for, but still are likely to change their mind if you can if you can so convince them, right? But is gonna be hard as heck, but if you say the right things and can prove a policy that you're gonna put forward, right? Then you might convince them to change their mind and come over to your side, right? But for the most part, most people know who they're gonna vote for. The people is a human nature. We know who we like and we know who we don't dislike, and we know who we like from the moment they walk in the room, versus when they're wherever they are, right? It's just human nature. We have a spirit, and sometimes our spirit meshes, and sometimes our spirit don't. It doesn't mesh, right? And I just think those people were full of crap from the get go, right? So that was kind of the what the video was about, and I think I am right, and this guy is kind of telling me that I'm right. He's not really looking at me, talking to me, but I feel like he's telling me that I'm right, right? And sometimes, as I said, I don't seek validations, but sometimes you need validation to make you feel like you're not, just weird, right? Even though I don't mind being weird. This is called Wild Thoughts for a reason, right? But I don't mind being weird, They always say weird is rich, Most of the rich people out there are weird as heck, right? But anyway, let's continue.
Not a bunch of people walking around with their head in a fog and go, oh, I think all of a sudden I need to learn about this. It's like, no, you know about it. Everybody's talking about it. It's everywhere. You can't get away from it. We're sick of it. We're tired of all these people. We're sick of the whole freaking thing. Most of us, anyway. I mean, some of you are really into it. You're not sick of it. You just love every moment of it, and you're going to be desperately have a political hangover in the middle of November. But anyway, the rest of us are like, yeah, okay, we got it. We know what we're going to do. And there's not a big block of undecideds that are going to swing this election. I'll tell you who I do want to address, though. There is a large block of people that are not planning to vote at all. And I'm going to be straight with you. I think that's a mistake. Okay? And I want to walk through with you just a basic decision-making paradigm on that idea. So my friend Simon Sinek, who wrote the book Start With Why, Infinite Game, many others, we've spoken on stages together. We've been in think tanks together. We've been friends for years. I follow him on Instagram. It popped up on his Instagram, Rachel.
Yeah, let me pause it right here. But before, I forgot to introduce a video. This is actually Dave Ramsey. And what they do on this show is that they give financial advice. You can call in, you can tell them a scenario or a situation that is happening in your life financially, and they'll give you financial advice as to what course they think that is best going to work out for you, right? That's who this person is, all right? Or these persons are. I think my English is correct there, right? As he said that there's a lot of people who are not going to vote, right? And he said I think it's 46% of evangelicals, and evangelicals are pretty much Christians, right? Mainly surrounding, like what they call it in the United States, like the South, the Bible Belt as they call it, right? Yeah, I'm not evangelicals. I'm not one of the evangelicals, but I'm one of them who is not gonna vote because I don't really see any of the issues that really fits me. You know what I mean? As I said, most of what on previous videos that the issues that really concerns me are just local. So I'm not gonna vote. There will be opportunities for me to vote, right? Providing God's spirit in my life, there'll be other opportunities for me to vote on issues that I really care about, but probably most on the local level. So I'm one of them who are sitting this election out. So there you go.
So yesterday, or day before yesterday, that he had interviewed President Joe Biden. And the interview on his podcast, by the way, folks, landed last night, and I was able to listen to it this morning. It is really good. It's really good. I did a really good interview with Donald Trump, and if you haven't seen that, you ought to watch it, but this is better. It's better. Simon did a better job than I did, and to the point that I saw things in Joe Biden that I've never seen before. And so I enjoy getting information and perspective on things that I didn't have. I'm not challenged. My belief system isn't challenged because I learned something about someone I disagree with that I actually like.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't bother me. It doesn't cause me to melt down. So anyway, I'm going to recommend highly that you go to Simon Sinek's.
Yes, and I'm the same way too. If I learn something about somebody that I don't, I don't agree with, that I like, it doesn't mean that I'm all of a sudden going to be a follower of this person. I'm going to deify this person. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I agree with what you say. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that you aren't who you are or who you were. You know, it doesn't mean that you changed. You know what I mean? And when I say you, I'm talking about that person, right? It doesn't mean that they change. It just means that, hey, look, they say something, and they probably believe in something that you so happen to believe in too. Because we all have many beliefs, right? We're as humans, we're not one dimensional, right? So I agree with him here that if somebody that I normally don't agree with say something that I agree with, okay, that's just one thing. You know, I can move on from that and still be who I am, and just the same. So once again,
Podcast and listen to this interview. It's really good. Obviously, President Joe Biden is not in the thing. Oh, by the way, side note, some of you that were griping about me interviewing President Trump kept telling me it's former President Trump, it's former President Trump. No, that's not correct protocol. I have a friend that passed away a few years ago that was the ambassador to France.
If you've been injured in a car accident, don't call an attorney. Use this AI app instead.
It was Ambassador Joe Rogers. He was a Tennessean. He lived here in Nashville. I knew him in the real estate business. And from the time he was an ambassador in France, the rest of his life he was known as Ambassador Rogers. Everywhere I went that he was introduced as Ambassador Rogers. If you introduce Bill Clinton, you introduce him as President Clinton. President Bill Clinton, not former President Clinton. Someone who served as a senator for the rest of their lives, they're called a senator. That is normal protocol. So some of you that are mouthing off about that, you're just wrong. You don't know what the flip you're talking about, as usual, when you're running your dadgum mouth on stuff like that. Okay, so anyway.
That was a sidebar.
By the way, I'll tell you another one.
No, stick with your points. You need to go watch. You
need to go watch Brett Baer tonight. Brett, one of the more level-headed people on Fox, has gotten an interview with Vice President Harris.
Oh, great.
The one I wished I had gotten.
Yes, yeah.
And you need to go watch that. I'm going to be watching it. I'll recommend that one as well. Because Brett's pretty...
I like all, yeah.
He's pretty straight. He's not like, blah, blah, blah. He's
Right,
not crazy, yeah. So, here's the thing. 49% of evangelical Christians surveyed right now say they're not going to vote.
Wait, how many?
49%.
Dang.
That's
It
my
lists
brothers
right
and sisters
in.
in Christ, because they're disgusted with the quality of the character of both candidates in their minds. That's what the thing comes out. And that's understandable. 16% of gun owners say they're not going to vote. And that's just because they don't want to get on the grid. They don't want anybody to know where they are, because some of you are just weirdos, okay? And you don't have to be a weirdo. You don't have to be a weirdo to have a gun. I've got guns.
No,
and I'm
I
not
will
weird.
vote. But I do think they know a lot about us.
They know a lot about us.
They know
But
a lot
I
about
don't think voting is going to cause them to know more or less.
I know. Okay, keep going.
So, here's the thing. You're not voting for a savior. If so, neither one of these would be qualified. You're not even voting for a pastor. If so, neither one of these would be qualified. What happens in your house is more important to your success than what happens in the White House. But what happens in the White House does affect your life, and to not vote at all out of disgust is bad decision-making paradigm. You should make a list of the 8 or 10 issues that are out there and which side each candidate falls on. And regardless of the candidate themselves, I don't believe in voting on a single issue. If you want to vote single issue voter, you can, but I don't vote on a single issue. There's not a single issue that I will vote on above everything else. I mean, there's things that are more important or less important, but like, you know, there are people that say, okay, pro-choice or pro-life. I will not vote anything except that on any other issue. I could disagree with them on everything, and they'll still get my vote because of that. I don't believe in that. I believe in looking at the whole thing and saying, okay, there's the economy, there's inflation, there's interest rates, there's taxes. Which candidate falls on the side of those things that you believe you can fix or that they're going to impact? There's the border, the immigration issue that is real. Which candidate falls on that? Check the box, right? Check the box. Pro-life, pro-abortion. Okay? Well, it's Democrat and Republican very clearly on that. Okay? Although Trump is not going to do anything on a federal level for pro-life. He's just going to let the overturn of Roe v. Wade run its course and the states decide. Kamala's going to be pro-abortion, period. And they've said this very clearly. I mean, it's a standard plank in their party, okay? Pro-Second Amendment. And no question which one you're going to check there on which. If you're pro-gun or you're anti-gun, okay? If you're anti-gun, you need to vote for Vice President Harris.
Even though she has one.
If you're pro-gun rights, just because you got one doesn't matter. If you're pro-gun rights,
she does.
you cannot put a check over there. And I'm not going to vote on a single issue, okay? If you're really concerned about the social issues around woke.
Can I jump in? What about writing in a name? Does that count?
You can, but I think one of these two is going to be president, and you should participate. That's
yes, but if I have a conviction as an American to actively vote, because I do believe in that.
Yep.
If someone out there just to even, practice that action, write someone in.
Yep. So I'm going to tell you, I'm voting for Donald Trump, not because I'm voting for Donald Trump.
Are we going here?
That's okay. But because I checked those boxes, and more of those are on that side than on the other side. I'm going to hold my nose, and I'm going to vote.
I might vote for Ken Coleman. That's who I might write in.
Ken Coleman. We could vote for Ken Coleman, but I'm not. Definitely not. I have voted in every single election since I turned 18 years old, presidential election or otherwise. I've not missed a single time to cast my vote as an American. I believe it's a patriotic duty. I believe it is a right. And I got to tell you, I think every single vote I've ever cast, I disagreed with the person I voted for on at least something, or I wished something was different about them. And so, as my friend Stephen Mansfield so eloquently put a while back, he said, all of us, if we're honest and have good decision-making skills and independent thought, all of us are not worshipers of candidates. Now, there are some of you that are worshipers of candidates, and you lose your freaking minds on this stuff. But I'm not one of them, okay? I'm looking at ideas and which ideas land on which side of the aisle. Where am I most likely going to get a tax policy I like, an immigration policy I like, a foreign policy I like? Where am I most likely to get a gun policy I like, a climate change policy I like, a woke policy I like, that I agree with? Where am I most likely to get that? And I can check those boxes very clearly, very quickly on these two candidates. And then based on that, none of them are going to be 100% on what I want them to be in personal character, in personality style, in history, in even where they stand on the issues. None of them are 100% on exactly who I want them to be. So that means 100% of the votes I have cast, and I've voted in every election, I've held my nose and voted anyway. There's something I didn't like, but I voted anyway for the one that most aligned with all the different issues.
Yeah, so that's I agree with some of this part. I don't know if you got part of my comments in the earlier that I commented earlier because I looked down and I realized my mic was muted, so I don't even know. But from the jump, he said everybody made up their mind. I am of the view that everybody mind was made up to begin with, right? I have other videos that speak on that, so that kind of confirms that. But back to what he's is discussing here. He said pretty much in all elections that he has voted, he had to hold his nose because he wasn't really excited about the clients, the candidates, on a personal level, but he kind of make a list on each side on the issues that that he's gonna vote on, and whichever issues is aligned with those with that candidate, that's the candidate he vote for. You know what I mean? You can do that, and you can do that here in the United States, but in some countries where governments and more specific Jamaica, you know what I mean, especially that our prime minister is being alleged by the Integrity Commission to have committed, you know, all kind of financial fraudulent financial maneuvers, right? So somebody like that, that's where I disagree. Somebody like that, I can't hold my nose and vote for that person if I know that person is liable of going into the country's purse. You know what I mean? And there's just you know, so the integrity issues. The integrity issue is a piece for me that I can. It's a deal breaker for me. I can't. You may align on the issues as much as you want. I'm not voting for you. I rather sit out. And I label the video says vote, right? Just vote, and that's kind of what he's saying here. You need to vote. You know what I mean? But I don't really see. I'm not telling anybody not to vote, but I don't really see voting as what he described it as a patriotic duty, or well, yes, it's a privilege because if you go to prison and you have a felon, you can't really vote, but or in most cases you can't vote, so it's a privilege. But you know what I mean, and those people will say, yeah, your ancestors fought for that, but nobody can fight for me to force me to do something. They fought for me to give me the privilege that if I so want to exercise that right or that privilege, I can exercise it. And if I choose not to exercise that privilege, I can choose not to. You know what I mean? It's almost like if you know, I want to go outside. You know, I want to go to a restaurant. I want to go to the store. You know, I want to go to the park. You know what I mean? I can choose if I want to go to the park or not. You know what I mean? I can, you know. So yes, they give me an added choice that I can exercise, you know, that can benefit myself, my kids, and others. But if I don't see where any one of them is going to benefit either myself or my kids or otherwise, then I don't have to give him my vote. That's my opinion, right? His opinion is that, look, line up the issues and see which one is mostly following your side, and whichever candidate falls in line with those issues, you hold your nose and know that this person is not perfect. Just vote, but not in all cases, you know. So even though this video kind of validate my me in a sense, you know, I still find disagreement in there, and that's what I just said too. That, and what he said is that not because somebody that you normally disagree with say something that you like, it means that, okay, all of a sudden this person is the greatest. You know what I mean? You can agree with some and disagree with the rest. You know what I mean? I agree with the strategy, though. I agree with the strategy, especially if there's somebody there that you like, you know, or these people are just not that crazy, right? You can line up the issues and then vote on the issues. I am an advocate for issues voter. You know, I don't believe in diehardedness. And another thing that he said that I did agree with, you're not voting for a pastor, you're not voting for your savior. You're right. These people are not your savior. These people are not perfect. You know what I mean? Vote for a couple of issues. He says 10. I'll say 2 or 3. You know what I mean? This person, you're voting for somebody to change some issues for you, to do anywhere from 5 to 10 things for you. That's basically what you want. Do these 5 to 10 things and get the hell out of there. But a lot of these people end up seeing these people, they deify these people and see them as gods, right? And they end up want to vote for these people forever, and these people should just maintain power. And that's kind of how the dictatorship starts. You know what I mean? These people start with a funny business, and people just deify them, their god. You know what I mean? And if they don't win an election, it's like, you know, the world, you know, is just rolled off its axis, right? I don't really see it that way. I'm more thinking about the issues. That's what we should vote for, and for me, it's more local because that is have more immediate impact on your life, as opposed to the president of the country. But once again, that's my opinion. I'm not really trying to convince people either way. You know, I'm just simply stating my opinion, right? And I agree with him on some, I disagree with him on others. Okay. But that's where we leave it for this week. Well, at least for today. And once again, this is Wild Thoughts on JMRB Media. Thanks for tuning in. Like the video, share the video, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, right? And of course, subscribe to the channel. Thank you.